gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car. I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video. 3
people shot steps away from a migrant shelter on Randalls Island. One of them has died. Lisa Rosner is live from Field 71 on Randalls Island with more details. Lisa.
So 3 people shot outside a migrant shelter in New York, and this is par for the course. Of course, in New York City, they have completely created an unsafe environment. I've heard that drugs are being smuggled into the migrant shelters. Women, children are being smuggled into the migrant shelters, obviously. Weapons, firearms are being smuggled into the migrant shelters. And this is all because of Biden and Kamala Harris's now bloody border. These super illegal alien burrito gremlins are on demon time.
Well, Cindy, this is still an active scene some 9 hours after this happened. The area right under the highway leading to the RFK Bridge. And it appears there are 2 areas police are investigating. One of them, as you can see, is this field behind me. This grassy area is where police marked 12 bullet casings, and then a couple 100 feet away, the 13th bullet casing near a park bench with a barbecue grill and a Corona box. This happened around 3:30 this morning, and people in the area say there was a gathering here related to Venezuela's elections of a new president. Police sources say a male shooter fired into the crowd, and this was retaliation for an earlier robbery, but it's not clear who was the intended target. It's also not clear if the victims are migrants staying at the shelter nearby. Police say the person who died is a 44-year-old woman who was shot in the face and back. The NYPD says the other 2 shooting victims, a man and woman in their early 30s, are in stable condition at a hospital. The shooter is still at large. Police sources say this person fled in a vehicle. The investigation is ongoing. Live in Randalls Island, Lisa Rosner, CBS News, New York.
One by one, dozens of vehicles were towed away from outside an asylum-seeking shelter located on Randalls Island. The operation took place after the NYPD received many complaints of vehicles left unattended.
We confiscated 19 mopeds. Out of the 19 mopeds, one of them was stolen. 1 dirt bike, 1 motorcycle which was stolen, and a total of 15 vehicles that were unregistered.
The operation happened hours after a shooting killed 1 person and left 2 others injured.
So you see, they started confiscating vehicles only after 1 person was killed and 2 others were injured, and a woman was killed, by the way. And she was probably an illegal alien as well, but it doesn't take away from the fact that people are dying because of Kamala's bloody border, as she was and is still the acting border czar.
According to authorities, on Monday morning around 3:30 a.m., about 50 people gathered to celebrate Venezuela's controversial presidential elections. It was then when a Hispanic male approached the crowd and shots were fired, striking 3 people.
So you have people celebrating Venezuela's weird election situation, and the fact that Nicolas Maduro is pressure from world governments are being put on him. And during that celebration, a Hispanic man came up, aired the block out, killed a woman and injured 2 others. I mean, the irony, I mean, these stories just write themselves.
Female, 44. She has since passed away. Female, 32, and a male, 31.
According to authorities, the alleged shooter fled the scene on a moped, adding he was the victim of an unreported gunpoint robbery earlier that evening, prompting him to retaliate. The NYPD also confirmed there is no record of the alleged shooter staying at the migrant shelter. However, the 2 female victims are currently registered and staying at the facility. Sources tell Pix11 News all the victims of the shooting are migrants who recently arrived here. Mustaf Chowdhury is staying at a men's shelter on the island. He says the city needs to do a lot more to guarantee the public's safety.
We got to make sure who we're bringing, they have intentions and they have plans of being here and contributing to the things we need to contribute.
There was deadly gunfire outside a migrant shelter on Randalls Island as a group gathered to watch the Venezuelan election results.
A woman died. 2 people were hurt. And Allie Bauman spoke with shelter residents and has the latest now on the investigation.
NYPD officers cleared the crime scene Monday night under the RFK Bridge on Randalls Island, just a few yards away from the emergency migrant shelter.
As of now, the motive is retaliation.
Police say around 3 a.m. Monday, a few dozen people were gathered here for the Venezuelan election results when a man started firing into the crowd, killing a 44-year-old woman, injuring a 32-year-old woman, both of them residents of the shelter, and injuring a 31-year-old man. This shelter resident tells us her daughter often saw the victim around the tents and feels badly about the loss. She says she warns her daughter against hanging out outside here at night. Police say the suspect fled the scene on a moped. Now, they believe that he had been robbed at gunpoint just over there earlier in the night and was seeking revenge. It's unclear if he targeted the victims, but police do not believe he was a resident at this shelter. As the NYPD was investigating the shooting Monday, they also towed dozens of unregistered cars and mopeds, at least one of them stolen, from the shelter lot.
It's probably our #1 quality of life complaint throughout the city, and how it conflates with certain crimes being committed. So robbery, shootings. You'll see the getaway car being mopeds or ghost plates.
Humberto Jose Silva came out of the shelter to show police the registration for his car. While he did not witness the fatal shooting, he tells me, out here, we are our own security, he says. Don't say anything, don't have a problem with anyone, and you will be fine. Police are asking anyone with information on the suspect or shooting to call. From Randalls Island, Allie Bauman, CBS News, New York.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
Now to the latest on that deadly shooting near the migrant shelter on Randalls Island and the hunt for the gunman responsible. Today in New York's Gabi Acevedo is there with the safety concerns being raised. Gabi, good morning.
Good morning, Darlene, to you, to Michael, and to our viewers. Investigators seem to believe that this shooting is connected to some type of retaliation after a gunpoint robbery that happened on Sunday. Of course, they're still searching for the suspect in this case, who they say rode off in a moped after killing a woman and injuring 2 other people. Detectives say a crowd gathered on Randalls Island near Field 7 yesterday after midnight to watch coverage of the Venezuelan presidential election when shots were fired, killing a 44-year-old woman and injuring a man and another woman. All of the victims are Venezuelan migrants, and at least 2 of them were living inside the migrant shelter.
And notice how we're not getting the identity of any suspects or any victims because they are illegal aliens. And from what I've noticed researching and seeing what the mainstream media puts out about illegal aliens, if it is illegal on illegal crime in many cases, unless the crime is just too gruesome, like the Jocelyn Nuringray, I forgot how to say her last name, but the 12-year-old girl who was raped, she was also an illegal, but because the crime was so gruesome, they identified everybody. But you don't have any pictures or any identification of the woman who was killed. And I think that's sad because her family, wherever they are, need to know that she is deceased. And, you know, it's just wild how things are shaping out for these migrant shelters that taxpayers paid for, and really they're just becoming government paid trap houses and gang silos. It's ridiculous.
Near the scene of the shooting, the NYPD has set up posters asking for help to track down the shooter who, as I said at the top, left the area riding a moped and deployed dozens of officers outside of the migrant shelter using drones to scout the premises, while also confiscating unregistered cars, mopeds, and a stolen motorcycle found on Randalls Island. Speaking to people here, Darlene and Michael, it is evident that there is fear among the migrant community, noting that many asylum seekers have nowhere to go once they cross the southern border and arrive in New York City.
I've been here about almost 6 months, and there's not a day that passes that I don't think about my safety. Mopeds, celebrating, smoking marijuana. I don't have no problem with marijuana, but at a time and place. It's just out of control.
As we bring you back live, it is important to note that investigators believe that the shooter did not live at the migrant shelter here on Randalls Island, and that the 3 victims in this case were not connected in any way to the gunpoint robbery that occurred on Sunday. Reporting live from Randalls Island, Gabby Acevedo, Today in New York.
Well, tonight the NYPD launching another crackdown on migrants with illegal scooters and cars on Randalls Island. This after a deadly shooting early this morning. We have new video of the NYPD towing vehicles near the scene a short time ago.
Overnight, a woman was killed. 2 others were hurt when gunfire erupted near a migrant shelter. And today, the gun insanity forcing summer campers near the migrant homeless shelter to stay home today. The park now turned into a crime scene.
And this comes less than a week after another shooting near a migrant shelter in Brooklyn left 2 people dead.
Lots to unpack tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Charlesworth live at the scene on Randalls Island. Michelle.
This has been roped off as a crime scene. No kids camp today, just a crime scene regarding this triple shooting, this homicide early this morning. But let's go to that video of these confiscations that have been happening just steps from here over at the asylum seeker shelter, where they have been taking, NYPD has been confiscating unregistered vehicles, supposedly perhaps stolen vehicles, cars, more than a dozen cars, mopeds, no plates, paper plates, illegal plates, taking all of those cars and mopeds they've been getting complaints about. And I want to tell you, the NYPD was just having a news conference. They spoke just moments ago.
Right now, the motive that we are going with is the person who did the shooting was a victim of an unreported gunpoint robbery by the Orange houses right behind you right here.
The NYPD has been out here all day investigating why 3 people were shot this morning and by whom. It ended in the death of one woman shot twice. She was not the intended target, police say, shot in the face and back, and had apparently been with a bunch of people dancing, celebrating the Venezuelan election. There were a lot of people out here on this field this morning. 2 other people also were shot, a transgender woman and a man. They went to the hospital. All are Venezuelan migrants who live in this asylum seeker shelter here on Randalls Island.
There's a lot of domestic fights within the people in the shelter.
This man delivers food part-time, lives in the men's homeless shelter, which is next to the asylum seekers shelter. He says he never feels safe walking around here. There are 2 shelters here and a drug rehab facility next to each other.
Now that's wild. These guys are getting zooted and getting drug rehab when we have veterans who are struggling with addiction, when we have homeless Americans who are struggling with addiction, and these guys are getting all these services for free: food, healthcare, drug rehabilitation. It must stop. They all gotta go. They all gotta get deported. They all gotta get dropped back off at their home country. These super illegal burrito gremlins are on demon time.
In between soccer and baseball fields, where Parks holds a kids camp. That had to be canceled today. 370 kids could not come to camp because this had become a crime scene.
Wow.
I see a lot of people, mopeds, celebrating, smoking marijuana. I don't have no problem with marijuana, but at a time and place. It's just out of control. And there's a lot of people.
Police say the 44-year-old Venezuelan woman who died was shot at 3:30 in the morning, shot accidentally, and that this all stemmed from an alleged theft. There were accusations that someone stole a necklace. Then someone else went back to the shelter to get a gun, clearly not something that is allowed, and came back firing. The NYPD has been looking for 2.
So tell me why guns are illegal. In many cases, it's very hard to get a firearm permit in New York. But migrants are or illegal aliens are so easily able to get them. Even the street dudes are so easily able to get them. It just shows that gun laws absolutely do not work. You got these people out here shooting up everything, and we're just supposed to sit up here and be silent. We're getting censored online because we're saying, hey, we don't want illegal aliens ruining our country. It's ridiculous.
2 men who got away, one on a moped and the other in a car with New Mexico plates.
We've taken, we confiscated 19 mopeds. Out of the 19 mopeds, one of them was stolen. 1 dirt bike, 1 motorcycle, which was stolen, and a total of 15 vehicles that were unregistered from this particular area.
And you heard the latest on the motive regarding the shooting early this morning, again, about 15 hours ago. And you saw the latest on the confiscations. Regarding the kids' camp, 400 kids were supposed to go to camp here today. That was canceled, and we understand the same camp is canceled tomorrow because this remains a crime scene. There is a lacrosse game going on. It started late this afternoon. We're live in Randalls Island. Michelle Charlesworth, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car. I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.